Welcome from Hope from Above YouTube channel. This evening we are hosting Abaya Rubin. Mr. Rubin is from the Roman Abba Ecclesiastical Blessed Opus Society and wants to help Catholics with the ecumenical push to bring all religions together. What would you like to discuss this evening, Mr. Rubin?
This evening I want to let Catholics know to avoid discussing the epidemic of rapes that the Catholic Church has committed over the centuries. This evening I want Catholics to know to avoid talking about how Pope Francis helped an alleged pedophile escape.
That is terrible news, Mr. Rubin. Could you tell us how the Catholic Church helped a possible pedophile escape possible punishment by the laws of the country he was in?
The story was reported by Indian Country and the New York Times. Let me quote from the article. The papal nuncio to the Dominican Republic, Joseph Veselovsky, came to the attention of prosecutors when Nuria Piera, General Director of Cadena de Noticias CDN, a television station owned by the principal newspaper in Santo Domingo, El Caribe, sent a camera crew to chase down rumors that the nuncio had been luring boys to the beach house, a perk of his office to engage in sex for money. According to the New York Times, Veselovsky caught the reporters following him and quit cruising for boys on the beach. Instead, he sent a church deacon, Francisco Reyes, to pander for His Excellency.
Could you tell me, Mr. Rubin, what is a nuncio?
Well, Wayne, did you know that each nuncio is personally selected by the Pope and, in Catholic countries, the nuncio is senior in diplomatic protocol to secular ambassadors? Even in non-Catholic countries, the nuncio has all the privileges and immunities of other ambassadors because the Holy See is a signatory to the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations.
So you telling me that a nuncio selected by the Pope over the faith of millions is another Christ selected, a man who is being investigated for pedophilia?
I would like to focus on the story and help Catholics to know what subjects to avoid when getting Protestants to believe they are Christians.
So how did the Joseph Veselovsky become incriminated in pedophilia?
Well, remember Wayne, the Joseph sent out Mr. Reyes to get him boys for his pedophilia. Unfortunately for the Catholic Church, Mr. Reyes was not too good in getting children for Joseph without getting caught. Mr. Reyes got arrested for solicitation of a minor on June 24, 2013. When nobody from the church appeared promptly to bail him out, he squealed and named names of alleged child molesters in a letter written on July 2 to, among others, Cardinal Nicolas de Jesus Lopez Rodriguez, who flew to the Vatican and presented the evidence directly to Pope Francis.
So he stated it was more than just Joseph who was molesting children?
Yes, Wayne, but that will not affect the Catholic Church. The whole world loves her and follows her, and the Queen of Heaven will protect us.
So how did the Pope protect a pedophile priest, Mr. Rubin?
The Pope then quietly recalled his nuncio on August 21 without informing Dominican authorities of either the allegations or the recall, spiriting His Excellency Joseph Veselovsky out of the Dominican Republic just ahead of an investigation of numerous counts of child sexual abuse.
That is sick, Mr. Rubin. Again we see that the Catholic Church promotes lawlessness and protects evil. Wonder how Mary, your co-redeemer, thinks of the thousands of rapes and abuse by her Catholic priests.
Wayne, that is not a nice question. Mary looks down with her immaculate heart and intercedes on behalf of all priests who are pedophiles. We want Catholics to know to avoid talking about how the Vatican then invoked diplomatic immunity to keep the nuncio from being tried for his crimes in the Dominican Republic.
That is terrible, Mr. Rubin, and per the Vatican they were going to get tough on child molesters.
Don't worry, Wayne, he will face punishment for his indiscretions.
You know, Mr. Rubin, that the New York Times reported that Victor Moslelos, a Dominican bishop, claimed that he saw Veselovsky free on the streets of Vatican City on a June visit.
Please do not interject useless information into our discussion, Wayne. In addition, Poland is prosecuting another priest who also molested children, Mr. Wojciech. It was reported that Wojciech and Veselovsky molested children together at the same time. Poland is prosecuting another priest for child sexual abuse in the Dominican Republic, relevant Wojciech Gil, and Dominican prosecutors claim that Father Gil molested young boys at the nuncio's beach house with Veselovsky present and participating. Depending on Polish law, Poland may not need Wesolowski's physical presence to assert jurisdiction, but they will to punish him.
How disgusting, Mr. Rubin. It seems we could do stories day in and day out on priests raping children.
Wayne, it's not that bad, and I believe that some of the responsibility has to go on the children.
How can the children be to blame, Mr. Rubin?
Well, if our priest offered money and they accepted, then they were consenting.
I cannot even fathom how you can rationalize all the rapes and abuses.
If Pope Francis thinks it was not that bad, then my father Pope Francis must be right.
In closing, Mr. Rubin, what would you like to tell the Catholics audience?
I want to tell Catholics not to worry about all the priests raping children worldwide. As you can tell by this story, our Most Holy Father Pope Francis is on top of the situation. As you can see, he acted quickly and decisively to help a pedophile priest avoid the laws and brought him home to mother. Per the New York Times, he is free on the streets of the Vatican to help the children. If any time a Protestant brings up children rape, just tell them you Holy Father Pope Francis is on top of these pedophiles.
Thank you for listening to the Hope Above YouTube channel, and hope you turn to Christ and the Bible alone. As you can see, if you deviate from the Word of God, you end up with an organization that has molested children worldwide.